order at 9:05 a.m. and ask you to please stand for the invocation and pledge. I'll be giving the invocation and Ms. Drake will be doing the pledge. Father God, I thank you for the opportunity to represent our school district in this position. I just ask for your guidance that all that I do and all that we as a board do glorifies you and enhances the lives of our students and our teachers through whatever means you have in store for them. I ask you to bless our country and our state as we are facing so many controversies about the public education sector and what's going to happen to our public schools. And we know that you are in control, and we just ask you to continue to reassure us that you've got everything under your control. We love you and praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. So the next thing on the agenda says the notice of meeting guidelines. And I don't think we have anybody here that doesn't already know those guidelines. So we'll move right on to approval of minutes. Item 2.1, approval of minutes of the Glades County School Board Budget Workshop, November 18th, 2025 at 5 p.m.
I'll make a motion that we accept those.
Second.
A motion and second, any discussion? A motion by Mr. Lucky and second by Ms. Clement. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 2.2, approval of minutes of Glades County School Board Organizational Meeting, November 18th, 2025 at 6 p.m. I'll entertain a motion to accept those.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Clements, second by Mr. Lucky. All in favor?
Aye.
And it's unanimous. Item 2.3, approval of minutes of Glades County School Board regular meeting, November 18th, 2025, immediately following the organizational meeting.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Drake, second by Mr. Lucky. All in favor?
Aye.
I didn't ask for discussion. Okay, the part we love the most, 3.1, update on the new elementary school.
Well, good morning, everyone. We've got a lot to be thankful for. We managed to complete the project on time and under budget. I'm not sure how many people have had an opportunity to walk through there lately, but currently furniture's going in. Then we'll come back through behind those folks, clean it one last time, and it's all yours. It's a beautiful project. Things went well, a couple of hurdles here and there, but everybody worked together and got through them, and got something to be proud of. So it's a very nice building. Right now they're working on getting the final programming done for all your access control, things of that nature. The only thing that we're waiting on still is the medallions that go up in the upper gable ends, and those are going to be here till January, so unfortunately, we had some changes that we made to those, so we're trying to push back. As soon as those get in, we'll get them thrown in right away, and we'll be done. One thing we are going to do is the first day of operational school activities. Something that we do all the time is the foremen that were on the job for each trade will be there on site to make sure everything goes flawless that first day. Andrew will be there, and if we got to stay a couple days, we're more than happy to do that. So just to make sure that something goes down, the guys that put it in are there to fix it. So, the goal is to get you guys to start moving and kind find that soft landing. So, it's a great project.
We are extremely excited and thankful for all that you and your company have done. I can't imagine it going any smoother.
We've been blessed to, work with fine folks here in this town and become part of the community, so, let's continue the relationship and, if at any time anything's needed, we're gonna be here for a little bit. We're on the existing school project, so, Andrew will be available, anytime if something goes swirly over there, he's right here, and we'll take care of it, so. Again, it was a great project and everything went well, it's a beautiful project.
So I just wanna say that, right now in legislature, right now with special facilities funding, it's kind of scarce up there because there's so many projects and there's not a lot of money. And so in my, last meeting with superintendents, that was a large discussion. And it's so wonderful to be sitting there and for them to say, Glades County, you knocked it out of the park. You are we are the poster child for what special facilities was supposed to be about and how it was done. And we have made friendships, lifelong friendships that we're gonna carry on. But just the professionalism from the day that we put a shovel in the ground and before that, what it took to get to that point. And we really appreciate everything that you all have done to make it go smooth and being very informative. I know the next phase begins and I'm just hoping that it will remain a safe work site because we've had very few, have we had any incidents?
No, yeah.
Good, so,
Yeah. We pride ourselves on our safety and doing things once.
well, it's probably the best decision one of the best decisions I've made as a superintendent is to go with Wiseman Culpepper as our builder and we appreciate it, so.
Thank you.
Madam Chairperson,
Yes,
may I ask a question?
you sure can.
All right, it's probably gonna be to Dr. Rivard, I don't know if you know this, but are we gonna allow teachers to start moving in over the break? Or, cause a teacher said something to me about that and I thought I heard Brian say that we were, but I wasn't sure how to answer the question.
So this Saturday, teachers, if they had to be on a voluntary basis, it wasn't required, that they are able to start moving their stuff and setting their stuff up in their classrooms. We've already began moving stuff over for them. We've trailered it over. They were asked to put everything in a box with their name on it. And that way, as we're moving it, we can kind of watch what they're moving as well, because we said no furniture, we were very specific what we wanted them to have over there, or what they.
So no old furniture
No,
is
ma'am.
going there, it's
No,
all
ma'am.
gonna be new furniture.
All new
So it's
furniture.
basically personal items, books, things like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And we didn't want like wood furniture or anything like that, because if there was termites or if there was bugs or whatever, we wanted new. I've been working with Ms. Pollard and she has been amazing in the short time that she's been there. She's been very hands-on, very, getting the communication to her teachers about what is and what is not permitted. She, automatically went into, no hot glue, stuff that she should have, she did a great job. So they can come Saturday, I believe she said she's opening the doors at 8. We've had a community member is donating lunch for them, if anybody comes, and like I said, it's voluntary. And then we'll have the open house, then next week, I believe on Tuesday, Wednesday.
The 18th is the open house.
Yes, the 18th is open house, which I was gonna discuss in my superintendent's report, but the 18th is the open house, but the 16th and 17th, we're gonna rotate teachers in to give them like a half a day during the school day to, set up their rooms and all that. And then also Ms. Pollard said she would be opening it up during, winter break to also, not every day, but she's gonna open it up several days to let them go in and set up for that first,
Awesome,
the first.
thank you.
And if there's some additional help that's needed, I know that, everybody's spread pretty thin. If I'm notified a couple days in advance, I can get some additional helpers to help move some stuff that are badged and things of that nature, so. I told Brian, just let me know what that looks like, so feel free to just reach out to me and I can get some additional help.
Madam Chair, I have one more question.
Yes.
On the guardrails, do you know that that's still a project that's gonna be put in on the ditch bank?
I have not been a part of that conversation since the last thing, the guardrails on West Avenue. The last time we were talking, Kim, we had discussed working with the city and the county and the EDC to possibly, push that ditch in. So I don't know where we are with
They
that.
can do that, that
Yeah,
drains right into the river, that's.
Well, they would put a culvert down it.
Put a big culvert and then cover it over, so that it's not an open ditch.
And again, that's one of those things that's gonna be a work in progress, because we've got regulations and stuff that we have to follow if we go through that route, so, we're working with the county to try to figure out what that looks like, so. It's just,
But those communications have already been done about the,
they're in process, yes, yeah, so, we gotta get the engineers to draw it up, and then everything has to be submitted. The problem being is that, like I said, you have so much bank before you hit that drop off, so, we're really riding that line, so it's gotta be approved first before we do anything. So that's all in the works, we're coming up with some different ideas and things of that nature. There's also some additional work that'll be done on 10th and stuff like that, so, my goal was to get, the school open and operating, and then we can change it to all sites after this.
I think too, I know Mr. Ahern had reached out, at one point, and several people in the community reached out about it, they're trying to get it passed. We had spoke with Eddie Dixon, because I guess he had a contact with someone in Tallahassee that could probably help us, so I know I went out and took probably 40 pictures and sent them out to different people, and hopefully, because I guess the city and county, they've been trying to get this done for a while, so hopefully we can, partner up with all of them and get it done.
Yeah, there's a lot of different entities, you got water management, you got all these different entities that, you have to jump through a lot of hurdles to get anything done, so. I know that, Jonathan Sands, our project manager, has been diligently working on with engineers, so. We'll just keep plugging away at it.
Kim, I'll follow up with an email and I'll CC the board just to say where are we with that, and that way you guys can.
that's one of the main things I've had questions from the community.
Right, one of the worst case scenarios is if we put some delineators up, just indicate on just, hey, there's a hole there.
Yeah.
In front of those entryways, so, we don't need permits for that.
But
What is that?
remember,
It's just the
it's
orange
not,
posts that are about this
Oh,
tall, that are collapsible, you can't keep things solid in if we put glass.
right, but that,
Don't go here, type of scenario.
we're gonna do some, informational, social media advertisements, like over the holiday. Jackie and I are gonna do some Facebook Lives to talk to parents about what that first day is gonna look like, what the traffic flow is, because they're not gonna be allowed to go down West Avenue to drop kids off. They'll be coming down this road, and we think, we hope that it works, that the parent pickup, there's plenty of room to get all these cars off the road. Now, could there be one or two? Absolutely, yes. But, we're gonna do some informational things just to push it out there about, we're, on January 5th, we're having an open house for all the community. And I was gonna talk about this, and I will in my superintendent report, but we're gonna have that where parents can come, walk the campus, see their kids' classroom, it's like the first day of the new year, because, kids have never been in the building before, so, anyway.
And we're not doing this soft, or where the kids.
We're not, no, because when we started thinking about it, we don't have custodial staff over there yet. And if you put kids over there, then you're gonna need to clean, and we don't have anyone cleaning over there, so it was just easy and, easier, I guess you could say, when Jackie and I discussed it, it was easier and fun to just do it the first day and let's go. And ask every email, and you can ask any of the teachers, any email that I've sent out, I reminded everybody, let's show each other grace through this, because this is not gonna be perfect. Don't go to, social media, oh, this is a nightmare, this is traffic. Let's be, we can work out things, but it's gonna take a couple of days of getting through it. So I think it's going to be fine.
And my guys will be available to you too, to help guide traffic and things like that. So, you just tell them what you want, how you want it, and we'll make it happen.
Anything else, board members? So I was going to say that the sad thing is we won't get to see you at every board meeting anymore. But if there's ongoing discussion of something to do with the ditch, maybe we will get to see you a few more times.
You will most definitely, as long as we're still involved with everything, we will be here at the board. So, again, we're gonna be working on the renovation and, we're here for you, so.
Awesome.
We'll make sure we're communicating or.
Thank you so much.
After the facts, we'll drop everything and say hi.
All righty, thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Any other questions for me? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and head back over.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
thanks so much.
Christmas. Yes. Okay, we're gonna move on to, 4.1, acceptance of the annual financial report for fiscal year 2024, 2025. And I'm gonna ask Mike if he will come up and walk us through this information.
Do you want us to make a motion first?
Oh, yes, thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
Can we have a motion to accept this?
I move to accept the annual financial report for fiscal year 24-25.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Straight, second by Ms. Clement. Now, Mike.
At the last workshop, I gave you most of this information, not much has changed at all since then. I know it was emailed to you, you could go back over it after we talked about it last time, or any other questions that you have on it. There's not much that has actually changed, on that from Mr. Ward's. The one thing that I did, change was that his ESC 348, we have a report set that at the end of the year, our fund balance, which is, please don't get that confused with the checking account, that's the liabilities and things, and they added up. His first ESC 348 was negative 1.168, and he and I were working through some things, and that was actually 1.149. $19,000, so at least it's $19,000 and you've had this since our workshop, and we have emailed it back to you. If you have any other questions on what, but there are things in these statements and the MDA that you know that were not done correctly in previous years, that we're fixing it as we move forward. It is, to my estimation, it is not a 1-year fix as to where we're at. It's at least 2, but at least we know that we're on the right track. The recovery of plan, about, I think it was version 7.
Or 8.
Or 8, the state finally signed off on it. Yes, all of your backup data is correct. Everything that is there is correct.
Can you say that again?
What's that?
Can you say that again? Can you just say what you just said again? I'm sorry. The recovery plan is working with the state and it has been signed off on.
Miss Lee, pardon me for still thinking of the movie Fifth Element. She and I went back and forth on many conference calls, emails. We had conference calls with Dr. Barfield. There's a difference between accounting and finance. Accounting tells you where you're at and where you have been, and finance is a forecast and a projection of the future based on trends. And she is an accountant, and so I was trying to project in where we're going to be, and she kept pulling me, and that's where our argument was going back and forth, because I know that the 26 second calculations are out, and we're waiting on the third calculation, which will be counted in and we should have that number by late January, early February. If it goes as anticipated, as it is on the sheet, based on money we're already receiving in the fiscal recovery plan, improves significantly versus last year. But that fiscal recovery plan, so that they would sign off on it, has to be based on the 24-25 time calculation from the state, on the adjusted net FEFP, and I know that's a complicated number, but if you want to sit down with me, that'll work. I can explain how to get to that adjusted net FEFP. But that's based on what the state and the legislature signed off on. That was the final 24-25, and then now we've had we had the conference calculation and the October calculation, and now we're waiting on the February 3rd calculation, which unless something happens with the legislature, where they take away funding or do something like that, then our projected fund balance at the end of 2020, or 25-26 will change from negative 5.8 to negative 1.9. I know that is still negative, but we're not talking about the checkbook, we're talking about the liabilities that we owe. Had we not made the changes in Dr. Barkley's leadership, that number at 2026 would be significantly different.
So we're looking at 2 or 3 years for the fund balance to get to 3
It's
for our recovery plan?
right, unless we liquidate some asset, or less, it's a slow climb out of the hole, and we have people who we need to catch up that we owe, and it's a slow climb, and they have to operate their businesses.
Yes, sir. I'm just adding a little bit of transparency out there so that some of the questions that are being asked are understood a little bit
Right,
from you more so than,
right, you can't cut too much immediately, because you still have to run an effective and efficient school district. I think we're running effectively, but not always efficiently. So if we make changes moving forward, I would recommend to Dr. Bartlett that we look at efficiency corrections versus just cutting the programs or things like that. We are on the track. It's just if a dog runs in the wood 5 miles, he's got to turn around 5 miles back out. So we went and lived in the woods for 3 years, and now we got to come back out of the woods. So hope that makes sense.
yes, sir.
Madam Chairman, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, well, it's not really a question, well, it is, but I like, Board Member Clement, I want the public to understand a little bit. So we've lost over 100 students, due to the new legislation, which gives, money directly to parents in private schools. My calculation, we've lost over $1 million because of that legislation. Is that an appropriate estimate?
It's
Because it's about 100 kids.
yeah, the projection for 25-26, again, in the second calculation, and that may change. And we've taken some steps to change that number. Last year it was $900 and something thousand. 25-26 is projected to be 1.01 million.
That we are losing
That's
because
That's not money that we're getting and having to pay out. That's just money that we simply
we
do
never
not
get,
receive.
right.
But-
And that's what I want the public to understand,
correct.
you know, because it looks like mismanagement, right? When you're in the hole. And
Right.
so legislation, every time they go to Tallahassee and meet, because every time I think I've got FEFP or some of this finance stuff figured out, they change. That change, the school choice change, has dramatically affected not only our district,
Yes.
but other districts across the state of Florida, but in a small rural district, it is into the meat of our programs, not, fluff. And in a larger district, I feel like they can absorb that loss of funds easier, than we can. And that is something, that we need to let our legislature understand, because we help support that. Because most of us up here do believe in parental choice,
Absolutely.
philosophically.
Right.
But we also realize, as Ms. Froment mentioned in her opening prayer, that the trajectory that we're on is going to drastically hurt public schools. And it's no longer just the rumor or just the conspiracy theory that they're out to get public school. I mean, it's reality now, and it's happening, and we've got to figure out if we want to continue operating public schools, how are we gonna do that? And I just want the public to understand, this is not just a Glades County issue, this is a statewide issue that has really hit us hard, and we've learned a lot, and that's what I feel is one positive that's come out of all this financial nightmare we've been through. It's finding you, number one, and you stepping forward, you stepped forward and you took this and you have made calls and enlarged your understanding and then been able to explain it to the rest of us. And so to you, we're forever grateful for that. But I feel confident that we're gonna get out and we're gonna be fine, and we've all, Dr. Barfield, all the way down to everyone, we have learned a lot, and the hard way,
Well, and I totally agree. Hold on just a second. Let me just say this really quick. Mr. Rainbow has gotten into the weeds and deeper into the weeds than that. We've all learned stuff. For me personally, I can tell you, it has been an eye-opening experience, because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I didn't know what I didn't need. I mean, it just, and I can tell you that Mr. Raybach has jumped on it and has been working night and day to help correct this. But it also our directors, our administrators, everyone is, what can I do to help? There's not been one person in our district office or that we've reached out to at the state level even that has been like, we're not gonna help you. I think probably what saddens me the most, and Crystal, you said it perfectly, and I could never even come close to how you just worded it, but it is a statewide issue. Orange County is closing 7 schools, 7 whole schools. Clay County, every county is in, they might not be where we are right now, but their projections, they're all going down. Our projections, which is because of the work that Mr. Raybaugh's done, our projections are going up, because right now we're working in the black. Many of them, they're all coming down. Our fiscal looks like it's going up. So, yes, we made some poor, we were overstaffed because, and many school districts after COVID, this is what happened, they were overstaffed. And, I know that our responsibility is to the taxpayers of Glades County, and I hold that that's very important to me, very dear to me. But there's more at play than, they had too many teachers working, they didn't know what they were doing. That's not the case here. The case is, we were given bad advice, but also that there was excess COVID money. There was a lot of things that contributed to this. So, I think that as we continue on where we're going, I think that we're gonna see Glades County is gonna come out on top of this, and I think I'm very happy that the growth that we've all shown. I will be glad when I can say, we've learned so much, it was a learning experience, but now we're past it, so.
Sleepless
sleepless
Many sleepless nights. My 3 points, the, first, based on your comment, there was a report that you shared with me, which opened my eyes and started me digging, that the legislative committee looking at FES, which is a scholarship fund, estimated that there could be up to 23,000 students statewide who are mislabeled as homeschool or private school, but they're really in our school districts. So we dug, and Joanna is amazing. Joanna Martinez, I'd like to put that on the record. She's amazing. We found in our district, and you gotta multiply this by roughly $8,000. We found 13 students who were classified as homeschool that was being withdrawn that are actually in our schools. And we submitted that report to the state. That's why I'm anticipatory of a positive outcome coming forward. So there were 13 students that we weren't giving money for.
And is the state taking responsibility for this?
There have been committee meetings that have been very vigorous. If you want to look at those committee meetings online and watch them, there has not been a consensus on what to do yet, but it is there. And so that money will help us moving forward. The second thing is that Dr. Barfield constructed the rough draft of a letter to the state to say just exactly what you were asking for and the verbiage she wants, and then Joanna and I are plugging in those numbers to do just exactly what you said. To send that, she did that, so that's in the works.
So Mike, those 13 kids that are in our school but are registered as homeschooled, did the parents get the money?
To be honest, I don't know how to make it, I know that we don't.
Right,
I
obviously
know
we
that we
don't,
don't.
and we should have, but I'm thinking somebody got the money, the $8,000+.
Well, we need to have to ask the state where that went to, because I'm not sure how that is dispersed. I know that was that's the difference when I said to you earlier, there's an FEFE, then there's a net FEFE, and then there is an adjusted net FEFE. And that adjusted net FEFE is based on our enrollment, taking away the scholarship money, which then takes away a smaller piece of the capital outlay dollars, which takes away a smaller piece from the state schools dollars, which takes away another piece from the ESC dollars. All of that goes into the adjusted net FEFE. And I showed Dr. Barfield day before yesterday that in 22-23 to 23-24, the third calculation increased our revenue by 900 plus, almost $1 million. And the next year, it increased us, it took away $271,000, but the next year, it increased us nearly $500,000 when we get to the third calc. So based on the way the third calc is going, that should help us quite a bit, and especially adding back in the 13 people that we reported. The state then asked for it. Joanna already had the information together. She's amazing, and she quickly got that to them. So I'm hoping to see an adjustment in the FEFE.
Also, the $200,000+ that the IRS took from us from the 2018-19 school year, that they would not, the DOE would not let us use in our fiscal recovery plan because we don't, it's not a definite thing. I mean, it is a definite thing, but they wouldn't let us include it. So on top of that, you have to also add that money back into it. So,
How will we
You hear
know?
my third point?
Kim, I'm calling, over the government shutdown, it was crazy because we could get right through to them and we actually could have, we had someone talking to us, but, when the government started back up, I think everybody is now in line. I think the other day my wait to talk to somebody was like 6 hours and 22, I mean, literally it was forever, and it would, you have to hit a number, so you can't like put it on hold and walk away. So I think, that's something I'm gonna do the next couple of days, is try to get through to the IRS, because we were told on the break, or on the shutdown, we had a representative tell us, oh yeah, we have everything, we see, you have everything here, you submit everything. And we're like, oh, okay, so can we get our money back? She goes, oh, well, that's a different department. And so we were like, but that money is ours, and that was not a penalty, that was a fine. That was because it wasn't, we did what we were supposed to do. I wasn't here, none of us were here, I think Crystal, you were here, but the district, sorry, I'm not throwing you out there, but the district as a whole did what they were supposed to do, except there was something that was supposed to be checked and it wasn't, and this was a penalty. I think
Every year, all of us know that when we get our W-2, we also have what we call a 1095, which is not money that we pay, it's just that the employee recognizes that they were offered health insurance. It's an Obamacare kind of thing to make sure that the employer offered some kind of insurance, and it's a signature, there's no money. And the employees got that, they all turned it on their tax returns. And if I'm understanding correctly, whoever was in charge then didn't simply upload those 295s to them, so it wasn't on there. Whenever we got the call, Ms. Martin found them, that we still had them, we uploaded them, did what we were needed to do. It just wasn't uploaded in 2019 to them, and they fined us per person for the form that was not uploaded back to the report. That's where $232,000 goes, simply not uploaded in.
that's 200,000 that will be in our favor, that will come off of that, the fund balance, which will be good.
The third point is that I hear everybody saying that, well, thank you, Mike. Let me tell you, without Dr. Barfield's leadership and her willingness to stop and understand, learn and understand and give and allow us the opportunity to go in and make adjustments and fix things. And her vision, when she and I talked back in the spring about just on the back of the napkin, basically, honestly, we anticipated that we were overspending in salaries without having an AFR, without having a balance sheet that we could stand on. And we made those adjustments that were not part of the bargaining. It was just things that we were overspending on. Support staff was not part of the bargaining unit, and that's where those cuts came from. But that came through her leadership and her vision. We worked tirelessly and hard on that. So the easy part about the fiscal recovery plan is that there hadn't, all of that heavy lifting was done in the spring. And that made the fiscal recovery plan much easier, because if that had not been done, and we come in here trying to do this, then we would have had to take a lot more steps than we had to take to do this. We just had to justify to the accountant, Ms. Lou, that what we have done is legitimate and matches her accounting skills. And she's the bureau chief for that. So I wasn't working with one of her subordinates, I was working directly with her, and she signed off on our recovery plan.
Can I just say one thing also? I just read a book about leadership, and it was talking about, as a leader, what you do on a daily basis, it projects to your staff. And I wanna say this, that every person in this office, from the receptionist to the secretaries to Maria the custodian, everybody in this office has had a part in this, because there were days when I came in and I was frantic, because I mean, I was on that first phone call with you, Ms. Drake, if you don't remember, when we found out what our fund balance was back, I don't know, it seems like 12 years ago, but like a couple of months ago, and I remember.
Yeah, it was this year.
Yeah, I know, but and I remember thinking, it was not good, but I've come in and they've been in there, Tara, every person has gone over and have done more than what their job requirement or what their job description says. I mean, they're doing things that Orpha, I mean, I could just go down every person that's in here and also the people that are over in their offices working. I know that you all get frustrated at times as a board when you call here, and if you've ever felt that we've been short with you, like, it's not because we're living and breathing this every second, and some people are doing 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs that aren't even on their job description because they wanna make this successful. And I think it gets personal to us, I feel personal, when people, not you all as a board, because that's your job and you understand that, but when people in the community or make negative statements about, oh, well, they didn't know what they were doing, or, you know, that district office, we take it very personal. And I'm very outspoken about stuff, but I'm gonna defend this group. They are doing things that just this last week when I was at my superintendent conference, they were talking about, well, you know, my PR, group, this group, and these are some of the counties that aren't that much bigger than we are, and they have 10 people in a group that can, or in a office that can do stuff, and our Tara's one person. Orpha is one person. You know, I mean, it's just, I just wanna say that because I do feel like sometimes the public don't understand the roles that these women and men are taking. And yes, I mean, I think you said it yesterday, or Ms. Crowell said it, the hire around you the people that are really, really competent, make you look good. That's exactly what I've done. And they have, and right now we may look, our fund balance may be bad, but I would put our district up against any district because we are working, we are doing what we're supposed to do. And I mean, they're killing themselves. They're tired. They come in when they're sick.
I agree, Dr. Barton.
Okay, good. I think they, you know, and just the other day, it was my birthday, and we had a cake and we were eating lunch, and, I was looking around at them, and they all, you know, they were trying to be as joyful as they could, but they're tired. I mean, they're working themselves silly, and they're coming up on weekends, they're working way past their hours. And I don't think the general public sees that. They think that they're over here in this, you know, and that they take hour lunches. None of that's true. Some of these people, I don't think have ever had a lunch break. They eat at their desk, and so, I'm going on a soapbox and I apologize. Chairman Rowan.
All right, get it under control.
But I just need to say it because no one is speaking up for the cause, or no one is speaking up for these guys, and these are, yes, our directors are doing a phenomenal job, and Mike, I've told him I don't know what I'd have done without him throughout this. But Mike looks good because Melinda does what she's supposed to do, so I'm just gonna put that out there, and I'm done.
Our point of three to you know what I'm saying, to finish up. Joanna Martinez, and Orpha Hernandez, and Melinda Gonzalez, Tara, and then the payroll department, Danielle, missing the finance director who was doing a ton of that data entry stuff, and their jobs are already busy. We can't afford to replace that position, so they have all taken on extra duties and are absolutely phenomenal. They're doing things I can't even describe, that it's extra hours taking the computer, working over Thanksgiving break. I wanted to have for you a monthly statement because you deserve one and you need one. But the revenues as they come in were not being dispersed into the appropriate cost shares. So if I gave you I could give you a bottom line revenue versus expenses, but they weren't in the right strings, and Orpha's been working weekends over the breaks, taking everything going back to July the 1 and breaking everything out, not just that the FEFP revenue comes in, but which category should it go in, so that when we run the budget, you'll see exactly what should have been and then what is. And I asked Carlos for the budget was approved, and I'm not sure you guys were giving one so much. What she told me to do is ask in here, may I have your permission to look at, to not changing, because you can't change in the salary you looked at, the original budget that Dawn had entered in, whether or not she brought it to you, I don't, and then revise the budget for all the cost strips where it should be. And I'd like to bring that back to you as a budget revision, and then anything you want to change during the year, every month, you need to have, I need to present a request to make revisions past that. But if I did that with every line item, right now, it would be forever. I want to get it to where it should have been, and then any revisions we make past that, bring it to you each month, so you can say, yes, we can move this money here. We can do that. With your permission, I would like to begin that process.
No, I would like,
I don't know if you need to vote on that, but
I have a couple things I want to say. First of all, everybody in here's name's been mentioned except Wendy and Rhonda.
Oh,
And we appreciate you too. And Dan, nobody called out Dan.
Well,
They're ready, I mean.
But I agree with Dr. Barfield, we're a good team. And everybody's working hard, nobody's slacking off. I'm anxious to get to that point, Mike, where you can submit that to us. We had a discussion after the meeting last night about expenditures and budgets. Dan has a budget for maintenance and a budget for transportation and a budget for food service. And he needs to be responsible for staying within those budgets. And if an emergency comes up that he needs to go into the general fund, he needs to come to us and ask. And we talked about, the ESE budget, the school safety budget. We all have to be accountable for what we spend. And the last thing I wanna say is, I'll be glad when you get that onion peeled.
amen.
With a lot of layers.
I can smell it.
I didn't mean to leave you in with
Just
you.
strike us.
I didn't mean to leave you on.
So I just have a couple of things I want to say.
Mentally do it.
Larry, in response to your question, did the state take responsibility? They have done, the DOE did their own internal audit of all of that, and they recognized that money has been misappropriated and gone to the wrong hands. So in the legislative process for this year, there will be attempts to fix that.
So
You're saying on the state level?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, and
Yes.
I think I read an article like that, we might have read the same one, but I didn't know if they had gotten to the point where they're trying to retrieve or get some of that money back.
Yeah, I don't know,
Or
I
help
haven't heard any discussion of that, but moving forward, they're supposedly gonna be able to fix that. In response to what you said about getting us a revised budget, that budget was submitted to DOE. And so any changes that we make to that budget has to be voted. For 2 years, I've been asking, at least 2 years, for budget amendments. And I've yet to see a budget amendment. So my support is there for you to look at what we submitted and then make all the necessary changes that need to be made. It is a statutory requirement that this board receives accurate monthly financials. So as much as I heard you say you wanna do that for us, this district's required to do that for this board because all the financials we've received the past 2 to 3 years have been inaccurate. And I can't even express how upset I am over that. And because that is totally unprofessional. We make decisions based on the information that we're given. And we made our decisions based on inaccurate information, you well know that, preaching to the choir here. But I want, you know, moving forward, I sometimes felt like, Moses in the wilderness crying out and nobody was listening. You know what I mean? Like, hey, y'all, we got a problem, and everybody's looking at me like I'm trying to be a troublemaker or something. I'm just trying to get us all to have the information. Exodus 6, thank you. So, I feel like another thing that I wanna say, so yes to the revised budget, I would much appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like as a board and Dr. Barker as superintendent, when the FEFP funding formula originated, there was no school choice. And so these quarterly adjustments that were made based on student enrollment were minimal. You had a few kids leave, you had a few migrants come in, it was minimal adjustments. What we're seeing now, I mean, there's another private school that's just opened, and we're about to lose more kids in the middle of a school year. We've already hired teachers, we've already paid their insurance, I mean, we've already,
Signed contract.
yes, signed contracts, bought software, done all the things. Then you're gonna lose these kids and lose money. That is the root of the problem. When we tell the state, what is our tax revenue gonna be, and how many kids are starting school, that's the amount of money we should get for that entire school year. If a kid leaves, and if they go to a private school, and that private school wants to take them in the middle of the year, that money should not go with them in the middle of the year, it should stay with us. Now, for the next upcoming year, there ought to be a deadline when they tell you they're leaving, so you can budget. They have put us in such a crazy position, and it's all new, it's all because of this school choice stuff. But as elected school boards, and honestly, I've given up on the political process. Because I've kind of come to the conclusion, if you don't have money, and you're not gonna be heard up there. And I hate that about my own, that's just what it's feeling like. But public education is in a horrible place right now, and we're the ones that really need to get vocal about it and speak up about it on the state level. Because what they're doing to us is just not fair. So, I'm done. Thank you, Madam Chair.
It's a frustrating thing to look at the adjusted net FEFP, the office calculation, and the second calculation, and the third, and they won't let you budget on it because it could go up, it goes.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
Down.
It is
And it
ridiculous.
hurts us.
It is ridiculous.
Or in some cases, it helps us.
But back in the day, it was minimal.
Yes.
Now, it's becoming,
Just
put your district in an emergency mode all of a sudden.
And Martin, based on the advice from the CPA that was using, the previous budget wasn't inclusive of the scholarship money. And that was one of the problems that we hit, because we were basing it, not taking into account the scholarship.
The loss of those kids.
And that's where the 1 year, and so it's sort of recovered. That was part of it.
Okay, any other comments or questions for Mike? Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
And so I think we're ready to vote.
Can I
All in,
ask?
Sure. all in favor of, accepting the annual financial report? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor. Did you want to say something
Yeah,
else?
yes, ma'am. Would you guys like to schedule a workshop to go over the fiscal recovery plan that I sent, or you just want me to email it out to you? Because I would like to go over it with you so you can understand what each line item is.
I would like to have a get together to go over it, but I don't think before the holidays. Can we do it early in January? Do we have one already scheduled in January?
January what?
February 5th, we have the workshop.
Can we do one in January, is there any,
I just have a busy schedule between now and January.
At the workshop, could we do two things? Could we look at the recovery plan, and then if we hold off till February, maybe you could have some work done on the new budget that you're talking about,
Yes,
revising the budget?
So just do it all
Budget won't
in
be-
February,
No,
Would that give you enough time to be ready to show us that?
yes, if, when I
February 5th.
When I print out the activity summary, yeah, because there are some things in the original budget that was dead on, that says this number, and then none of that has been used, and there are some that say zero in the original budget, that it's in red over here, and those are the things that are not, I want to
No, those are
revise
called
that around.
amendments.
Correct. Yeah,
What was that? Mr. Drake, what was that?
I wanna make those things correct, and I print the line item, and it's literally 13,000 lines, and I know you don't want all 13,000 lines. So to get the budget, to summarize it.
Yeah.
Scott Ward is an expert at doing the data mining things, he's been showing me, now, I can do data mining for employees, do all that, but data mining for finance, if you don't click one box, then it's not gonna give you the data that, and so he sent one to me, and I've cloned it, and I'm adjusting to, is it a month, what I would like to present to you monthly is a spreadsheet with the original budget, the revised budget, everything was spent in July, August, September, October, in a calendar, and at the end, the percentage that we have used and the balance
Awesome.
that we have. And I can run that, but if I ran it now, it'd be literally 13,000 lines. And some of those are not necessary, they're not, we don't have those programs anymore, so refining that report so that it's not cumbersome to use what I would like to report.
All right, so we'll plan on that for February 5th. We already have.
And you can just email us the recovery plan, and if we had questions,
Yeah.
we can call.
Also, with the recovery plan, we were proactive in getting a fiscal oversight committee. And that's not something that the state made us have, it's something that we asked for. And so, I've got 2 members, possibly a third, but 2 have definitely agreed, that they would assist us. And one is Ted Roush, and he is a past, deputy commissioner. He was a superintendent and is very familiar with the budgeting process. And then also Merrill Wimberly, who is the FAD CEO, and he also has, a lot of knowledge. So we're gonna start also sending them all of our budget information to have their insight and to see if there's something that maybe that they can see that we're doing that maybe we shouldn't do, or that maybe they can assist us with, try this or something.
How are they compensated?
They're not, it's volunteer.
I think that's a good idea. Okay, moving on to, item 5.1, public comment on agenda items. Seeing none, we'll move on to the action agenda. There is no consent agenda today, you may have noticed. So 6.1, approval of changes in human resources, hires, resignations, transfers, and/or supplements. Do I hear a motion?
I move to accept the changes in human resources.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Drake, second by Ms. Clement. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All approved. Item number 6.2, approval of agreement between DeSoto County School Board and Glades, Hardy, Hendry, Highlands, and Okeechobee County School Boards, July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
I move to approve item 6.2, but I do have some questions.
And I have a second.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Drake, second by Mr. Lucky, and we're open for discussion.
Okay, So Carla gave us some information, right before the meeting about our, let's see. No, this was, the first sheet here that she gave us, the single sheet, is about this grant. The question is, does it cost us any money, okay? Because, and it was mentioned to me that this money is necessary for our ESE department, that we need this funding. So our question was, do we, because in the contract it says that we will divide anything that goes over the grant funds evenly between the 4 or 5 counties. And,
But what does even mean? I'm sorry.
right, well, we were wondering, isn't that a little disproportionate since we're probably the smallest county with the fewest students? And so what we asked Carla to provide was how much should we spend over the grant funds? And so what she gave us for this year so far, we've spent nothing, but I don't know if they dispersed the grant this year. But for last year, we spent $1,956.49. And then the year before that, zero, and then the years before that was just $300 and some change. So I guess our question to you is, do you anticipate them going over, because we can't afford to go over? And if they are gonna make us pay, can we reword that so that it is proportionately divided per the number of students being served? That way we won't be paying an equal share of the expense.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, just to kind of give you an idea, we do not have an assistive technology person. That's what this person is. And she comes to our district a lot because she comes in to provide, assistive technology for our students that are in subsequent classrooms. She is very good to come in for evaluation. She's been working very closely with Moorhaven Elementary School, with our visually impaired students as far as making sure to, that they're using their assistive technology pieces, training teachers on how to use things. And so basically, my understanding is the grant covers the majority of the cost. But because the grant fluctuates, that it was agreed upon by all of the districts, because she travels, from district to district, depending on what needs, who needs what. That we would just split that, based on that. And that's something, I could discuss with them, but I know she is a valuable resource to us.
So we need the grant, we need to be in it,
Yes.
but the other boards have a lot more students than we do.
They do.
You know what I'm saying? Like Highlands
Yeah.
is 10 times what we have.
Right.
She probably serves a lot more students.
I'm sure. Because that is her home district designs.
And if I knew we weren't gonna go over, then I wouldn't have a problem, but I know it's not a lot. I know it's not a lot of money, but we have to watch every penny. And so
I understand.
that was my concern. Do you think it could be renegotiated, that we would pay a proportion?
We can bring it to them. That's
Are you
not-
the one that is talking to this person, or
Yeah, I do, yes.
is there a deadline for us to get this in?
I think it was already assessed.
I think I think we're in the past.
We're in it because it was from July the 1st to June the 30th.
So maybe when the contract comes up for next year,
Yes.
but just knowing what, Ms. Drake is saying, just making sure that because last year it was $1,900, so, if we didn't have this person, then we would have to be paying an outside agency, and it would go way over the $1,900. We'd be in probably $20,000,
Yeah.
$30,000
It would be
range.
a lot more than $1,900 to have an individual to come.
But what you're saying, I agree with, that we just, when we get ready to, the contract's written for the following year, and they send it out and say, do you have any input, then we need to say, we would like for that to say proportionate share instead of.
And I will say that, I think it was DeSoto, or maybe it was Hardy County, they're a small district like us too, so they, you know, they were saving it, trying to save every penny as well. So that was brought into the conversation, you know, about, you know, how can we kind of reduce the cost and.
Right, and we're smaller than they are,
Yeah,
so.
so that was, you know, and they said they're gonna do everything they can to make sure they get all the grant money to cover as much of the salary as possible, it's just, you know, with increases in insurance, benefits, things like that, sometimes they do.
It looks
And
like,
what is that's gonna allow.
I'm sorry, Ron, I didn't mean to cut you
It's okay.
off. It looks like according to this, report that Carla printed out for us, that for this school year, 25-26, we have in our budget $1,000. And we've encumbered $148.15 of that. So hopefully we're not gonna go over that $851 we have left in our budget. That's, you know, I don't know how you cut that. You know, do you say, okay, we're not gonna have you come the last month of school because we're over our budget? You know, I'm not sure how you manage that, but you know what the situation we're in financially, we just can't afford to pay anything if it's not absolutely necessary.
Absolutely. And again, we can, when we go back into, the new contract starts in the summer and then have those conversations, that's going to be a real conversation because every district in our region, you know, is also tightening it up.
Yeah, and so that little stipulation that will split up what needs to just be stricken from the contract. No, you're gonna operate this grant on what you get. There is no extra money. I mean, that, and if we have to hire a person to come in for the last couple weeks of school to meet our contract with that, you know, that person's IEP, they've gotta have that therapy, then we do that. I mean, does that make sense?
Yes.
Any other questions or discussion? Thank you, Rhonda. We need to vote, all in favor of, approving the agreement for this, service.
All those who say aye,
I'm just gonna say nay, but I
Okay,
can see
I
it's gonna
know,
pass,
that's
so.
fine. All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so, aye for Ms. Clement, Mr. Lucky, and myself, and nay for Mrs. Drake. Okay, item 6.3, approval of the 2025-26 agreement with the Glades County Sheriff's Office regarding the provision of resource officers. I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
Motion approved.
And a second,
second.
motion by Ms. Clement, second by Mr. Lucky. Discussion.
I'm not sure, I think there's some confusion here, because the contract that we have was the contract that Mr. McKinley sent for you all. That hasn't gone to that hasn't been received by the sheriff's department. So I don't know that we're voting on the contract, I think we're voting on his wording, that that's what you want to present to the sheriff's department. I just wanna be clear of that, because I think there's some,
Well, that's what I'm not sure about, and they weren't sure either.
so the contract that is in your packet is the contract that Mr. McKinley presented when we sent him what there was. That's what he sent us back, the changes he felt needed to be made. That's what you have in front of you. That contract has not been negotiated with the sheriff's department.
Also, Carla made some changes on what Mr. McKinley sent us based on our conversation last night.
Correct.
Mr. McKinley did not correct the dates, so that has
He
been.
did, but I had picked up the wrong file.
So it's
So the one on our agenda
25,
has the right date.
Okay, and you also added the words not to exceed or up to. Because we wanted to make sure that the amount we have in the contract is the amount, and we're not gonna go over that. So it's up to that amount, I don't have it. $230,000. So I think what we need to do today is say, yes, we agree with the way it is now currently worded. And then from there, Dr. Barfield or, Mr. Gressa, whoever's in charge of this, will take this to the sheriff's office. And they will have to agree to it, and then we'll have both signatures. But it won't need to come back to us if we vote to approve the wording and they accept it. If the sheriff says, this won't work for us, we need more money, or it's gonna cost more, or whatever, then it'll have to come back to us for approval. Is that correct?
Yes.
Any questions, other discussion?
So I just want to ask Carla, Madam Chairman, did Mr. Gress's reply about the amount of our, Safe Schools grant?
He did, he sent me, what is off the, what you were looking at on the internet, and I printed it, but it's on the computer.
And what does it say? I forgot.
Send it to.
Mike, do you know what the safe school allocation is
This year.
for this year? Can you go find it, please?
I just want to make sure, as I'm sure everyone up here does, that the 230,000, that our Safe Schools allocation will cover all of that. Because then we still have our part-time duties that we have to pay
I have it already.
outside of this contract when they go to football games and things, which has really been hitting us hard lately. So we want to make sure that we have enough in the Safe Schools allocation to cover the SROs and all the extra duty they do off the clock. And I don't believe there's quite enough, but all the cuts you've made, Dr. Barfield, in the games they're attending and things like that, and putting prom parameters and things, I think that's gonna help.
I'll
We
go to-
really need to stay under the
So
Safe School allocation.
last year at Moorhaven Middle High School, this is just extra duty. We paid $23,112.74. That's just at Moorhaven Middle High School in overtime. And this year we're only at $9,000. Last year at Westglade, we paid $3,277.26, and this year $1,927. Moorhaven Elementary, $420, this year $369. And then, Moorhaven Middle High School, the SRO was at 50,000, I'm sorry, this year it's, last year it was $52,810, this year it's only $15,000. Moorhaven Elementary School, last year it was 51, this year it's 14,000, of course, that's mid-year. And then last year at Westglade it was 51,000, and this year it's 14,000. But something else that I wanna bring up that it's maybe not in the contract, but I think that we need to have the discussion. The Glades County School District is paying 100% of the SRO salaries. And in many, many, many counties, that is not the way it is done. It's shared with the county, the Board of County Commissioners. So I think that we need to have that conversation, and if it's something that they can put in their budget. I mean, last year I tried it and they said, oh, the budget process has already gone through, they've already taken the, I don't know when the best time, I don't know when they start planning their budgets, but I want that discussion to be had by our county commissioners, because we should not pay 100% of that. So,
Well, in their defense, there's one that we don't pay anything for. The one at Westglade's currently, they pay the full salary for that.
Correct.
So they're paying one of three.
But it's divided by 3, all the salaries.
We have 3 SROs and we only pay for 2 of them, is that what you're telling me?
Yes, because they have one using it as a, supervisor.
So they are paying some, and that was news to me. I didn't realize,
That was a little different spin on it.
yeah,
Well, it looks like our allocation for Safe Schools was 390,615
right, so what I'm
last
adding,
year, so the 230,000 is under that.
plus even if you add what we spent last year for supplemental pay, which is what this is, right, Dr. Barfield? These sheets, it's
Yes, ma'am.
extra duty.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I add that to the 230, I think we're still under the 390,
615.
615.
But we have to remember that not only, the SRO money is not the only thing that comes out of Safe Schools.
Right,
If we have to put in new cameras or fences or locks or, communications devices, all of those are Safe Schools things. And if we're gonna say to Mr. Gressa, who is in charge of this, you cannot go over $390,000, then some of those things may not get done. We can't go over, we've got to budget, I said this in the conversation that we had last night, some of us, if something goes wrong at my house and I don't have the money to fix it, I do without. It's just the way we operate as individuals, and we need to be just as good as one money for the district.
okay, Madam Chairman,
Yes.
the paper that, Mr. Rayball just gave us is a little higher. That, the one that we got from Brian was 2425, which is, we're getting 5,000 more
Right.
on the newer sheet. It's 395,557. So as long as we don't buy any of that extra stuff that you're talking about, security cameras, et cetera, we should be up to date on all of that.
This, Ms.
Yes.
I'm great, please keep in mind that the conference calculation is based on recent years' trends. And then they do a conference calculation, and then they do an initial count. So if anything changes in that count, that third calculation, it could go up, it could go down, but the Safe Schools rarely changes. Some of the others, but I don't want to rule out the possibility that it will change.
So your FEFP, you said at the podium, your FEFP adjustments based on FTE changes even your capital money.
It changes
It changes everything.
it.
But you're saying maybe
They
not
have to
this.
calculate. Well, there's a, if you look at the statement sheet, if you want to go get to the state statement sheet, there's a net FEFP, which is the adjusted, and then under that, there are additional monies that don't change, that usually don't change. Safe Schools is not under that line. It is up in that line. I'm saying traditionally, it doesn't get altered from one calculation to the next, but it is part of the net FEFP calculation. So if that FEFP drops, I'm not gonna tell you that they won't change it. I'm
Right.
saying they haven't usually.
Right, okay,
I just want, it could go to 97, it could go to 380.
yes, sir. Well, according to what you gave us, and I did the wrong number, I did the 390 instead of the 395, but we're still gonna have $100,000 over, about 140 approximately, left over.
So
If
we
we pay SROs, pay the overtime, and don't buy anything else.
So we have to hope that the sheriff accepts this. So any other discussion or questions before we vote?
Give some reference, last year was 381.
But doesn't Brian's salary typically come out of that as well, or no?
A percentage of Brian's salary comes out of that.
I mean, but, okay, so this year, yes,
The rest
because
of
we had
the
new.
coordinator's percentage probably.
Correct, So we have Brian's salary that has to come out of that.
Some
We
of it.
have SROs, we have extra duty for SROs, we have any type of locks, doors, keys, cameras, lighting,
Our vector trainings also come out of that.
vector training. So, I mean, it's gonna be tight.
But we can do it.
We can do it.
We just can't let the sheriff talk us into more money. The amount that's in this contract that we're gonna ask him to accept is our top offer. We're not bargaining.
And I wanna put it out on, just, or I can say I said it. School laws have changed about needing an SRO at every school.
Which we want one at every school, but if we can't afford it, then we will take the other route.
Yeah.
But let's not go there unless we absolutely.
Right, and just to clarify for the public, the other route is having a guardian at your school.
Yep.
And we do have a guardian at one school, so we could get rid of one SRO if we were fiscally pushed to do so.
Any other discussion? Okay, we're ready to vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All ayes. Moving to item 6.4, approval of the parent agreement and registration form a la carte for family empowerment scholarship or Florida tax credit. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
In a second. Motion by Ms. Drake, second by Ms. Clement. Discussion.
I have some discussion. Is it Wendy that is over this?
It's
or
Tara.
Tara.
So it's Tara.
Ms. Tara, do we have students in our school right now that are on homeschool status, but they're enrolled in some of our courses that are not paying?
I think there's possibly one, maybe two.
Okay, can we fix that? Can we bill them? Because we have had that in the past, where we billed a parent that was getting the family empowerment year before last. They paid, and I did a webinar with Florida Empowerment, and they said Glades County has this much for their course fee. I understand we now have to adopt it formally and all, but I think we can still charge, right?
I don't have a problem with that. I think that part of our agreement is that they have to have the payment before they enter the class. So I'm for it. I
Yeah,
think
so
we
somewhere in
should.
our registration process, the ball was dropped, is that what you're telling me? That somebody registered, homeschool student registered, they're coming to our school taking a class, but they're not paying us.
I think it was because there was no fee schedule. Nobody knew what to even, because it's relatively new. I think there are other districts that are still in the process of working on this. Because we haven't.
But we did charge another parent in the past, and they paid us.
So I guess the question would be then, where is the fee schedule? I think that's been the problem with the ones that are entered now, is that there wasn't this paperwork until recently.
Okay.
And so there was no, to my knowledge, there was no fee structure or any of that.
Well,
We could begin in January, though, billing
no, I
these
wanna
two.
go back.
Okay.
If they're in our school this year taking a class, they need to be paying for the class. That's my proposition. Because as I said, and I don't wanna mention names, but you know, we had a parent paid in the past for their child, homeschool child to come to our school, and that's only fair. That's part of our problem with these scholarships, is we're losing money.
And you're absolutely right, and I agree. In a perfect world, this, I know of one student, I personally talked to the parent. In a perfect world, when that parent came to enroll her child in that class, she would have been told, this is the form you have to fill out, and this is how much you have to pay. This is the tuition that we charge for homeschool students to take a class in our school. That didn't happen. I don't know whose responsibility that is. Is it the guidance counselor that enrolls them at the school? Or,
So
I'm confused.
that's probably what happened in that situation. But with this, what ends up happening is they complete, whoever wants to enroll completes a form, an online form, or can come here and do a paper form. And me and Katie have access to that, that form that gets completed. And we collaborate with the high school, guidance counselor to figure out, is this an option? Is there availability in the class that this person is trying to register for? And then it's a team effort from then on in working with the, guidance counselor. And then we get back with the parent, we let them know, yes, there is availability, yes, you can do this class, yes, you know, we collaborate with them, and then they have to fill out the paperwork, they have to, make payment before they can get started in the class.
So the guidance counselor has to be aware of this, obviously, because if I'm the guidance counselor and nobody told me this, I would just register them and go my happy way. I would like to say this parent needs to pay us for this semester that her child just finished. But I don't know where we stand on that legally, or, you know, I mean, if I participate in a class at the college and nobody told me there was a tuition, I assumed all along that it was free, and then I'm done and ready to take my final exam, and you say, by golly, before you take your final exam, you're gonna pay $500. I'd be a bit upset about that.
Well, I think they're informed by the Family Empowerment Scholarship.
You think they've been told?
I think they know. I think the rules are, if you go to a public school, on their website, the Florida Empowerment, the STEPS website is
Yes.
where our fee was listed.
Okay.
And I think the parents know that they're supposed to pay,
Then I
But
think
if we never
need to go
asked-
get that money.
but if we never asked for it,
Right.
I mean, I'd be willing to if it's only 2 kids, I would be that's depending on whether they're high school or middle school, it's less than $1,000, but I don't understand on this proposed fee schedule, why is it less for a high school class
So
than
that,
for a junior high
that is
class?
something that's gonna have to be fixed, I was gonna mention that to you
Okay.
guys, because when this was created, most of this came from Harvey County. And their middle school only has 6 periods, their high school has 7 periods. And so for us, we have 7 periods for middle and high school. So we are gonna take off the middle school, and it's only gonna be the high school fee, because we have 7 periods. That's how the fee was
So
determined.
everybody will be the same.
Mhm.
So we'll just say Moorhaven middle, high school, and grades 6 through 12.
Both students, there's 2 students at Moorhaven High School that are doing this. Both students are in the band. The situation that you're talking about, Ms. Drake, with that student, I think there's a difference. There's a difference, because that student was on,
That was core classes too.
well, and that student also was in a different kind of step up because he was in ESE, or because of the ESE program. So that's the difference. I see what you're saying. Yes, we had different fees, but that was arranged to the parent and step up. We were asked, they called me, asked me, well, we need a price. Well, we figured it out with FT, like what it would cost, and that's what we gave Step Up. This is being, because we need something on paper. I mean, the 2 kids that are in the band program that are, their parents, if their parents got money from the empowerment scholarship. So let's say they got $8,000, I don't know what they got. But they got $8,000 because they're supposed to be providing their child's education. We are providing one period a day of that child's education. So we should get a cut of that money. Now, what do we do because we're late? I mean, I don't know, because we never had an official fee schedule, but we do moving forward. I don't think it would be good to go back. I don't think for those two students, it would be good to go back and say, hey, you owe us. But I think starting in January, or starting like now, as soon as this meeting's over, a letter needs to be sent to both these parents that says, if your child is to remain in these classes, they have to pay the $700 or whatever.
And honestly, I talked to, Wendy, I can never think of her last name anymore, previous Miss Pell.
I'll be Miss Pell.
About driver's ed, because, there's a new requirement, you gotta take a longer driver's ed course now. So all these homeschool, private school kids, they're gonna try to get their driver's license. Like my granddaughter turned 16 this month, and I think she's grandfathered in, but after that, they're all gonna have to have this longer. So there's 100 students out there that are our market. If we can provide this online or in-person drive, I think it's online, it's just more hours. We need to market them. Is this a break-even amount here? Because don't we get to set this fee?
It's based on FTE funding, and what
Do
we get from the state.
Do we can't add to it?
I don't know.
I think we'd get in danger.
Because here's the next thing that's gonna come, is are we gonna charge the students that are private school and homeschool students that play in our sporting programs?
You can do that if you charge your students. I've already checked that. And we're in an area, we can't charge our students to play sports, so we get no students. And it's not fair to the parents of our community. But this is different, this is academic.
I know, I'm just saying, the conversation, that opens the conversation up, because if you're a homeschool student and you wanna play volleyball, I mean, it's the school district's busing, it's the school district's gas, we're paying for the coaches, and I'm just saying, it opens up a whole, I'm not saying that I'm for it or against it, but I'm just saying that I think what the FTE amount that the state says is what we should stick with. I don't think.
But if we do an athletic charge, let's say we go where you're talking about, we're gonna set the fee ourselves, cause it's gonna be a local. It's gonna be, what is the driver cost, what do we pay for the bus, I mean, we're gonna do a calculation.
But the state's already
somewhere
done that.
in these calculations for these homeschool and private school students should be a profit for the public school. If it's $1, we should make a profit. We have to call it an administrative fee. You know what I'm saying? It should not be a break even for us.
The discussion that was had at the Florida School Board Association, this makes me nervous, just discussing anything outside of those boundaries due to what, I mean, he was pretty straightforward.
So, to get back to what we've been asked to approve, do we need to approve this without changing, I mean, I'm looking at this that has junior high school and senior high school, and we know we're gonna change that to reflect the senior high school for everybody. Can we go ahead and vote to approve it today, understanding that change?
I guess your motion could say to include, typographical changes or something, or you could just bring it back to us, but
Well,
if we wanna charge in January, we probably need to pass it today. Or the motion could say to include discussed changes.
okay, so who makes the
I
motion?
think I did,
Well,
so
then
I'm
change
gonna,
your
I'm
motion.
gonna change my motion.
Can we ask for back pay? Could we ask for?
I think we need to let that go.
And you could, on a bill, put first semester waived.
Correct.
you could waive, but show them, we gave you
Yeah.
this free. You should have been charged, but we're gonna waive it because we didn't bill you correctly. I think that,
I think that would be good, good idea.
so I'm gonna make my motion say, I move to approve the fee structure with the changes to combine the junior and senior high fee structure. Now, are we gonna go with the higher one, which is the 7th period a day? I guess your recommendation would be to go with the senior high.
Yes,
Yeah.
because that's
Okay,
the
the
period, so
core
it's a true reflection.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with that today, but would you research that for me and find out, can we go over and above what we have calculated as at cost?
Mhm.
Cause we're providing a service.
Right, so I think two things that we have to keep in mind. The first thing is, as I was working in other districts, and this last conference that I went to, this was on the agenda. They put us in breakout groups and made us discuss it. The step up guy was there. And, the pricing is all over the place. And so I think you have to be able to describe how you arrived at the pricing. For me, CTE courses, I think should be more, because the lab equipment, there's lab equipment involved, there are industry certifications that are involved, there are fingerprinting for the nursing program that is involved, there's more involved, in my opinion, in the CTE course. So that would justify then why that price would be higher. So I think we have to be able to justify how we arrived at the pricing. And the second thing I think we have to keep in mind is it has to be, with people leaving like they are, I think it has to be appealing to people. I'm not saying that we need to go broke on it. I'm saying that we need to make it so that people aren't gonna drive 30 minutes down the road to get a $75 cheaper course. Does that make sense? So I know
So have you
that
checked
Okeechobee,
with Hendry and
yes, Henry.
Highlands, what their fees are?
So Highlands is using Brevard's, and Brevard's actually has theirs broken down. They have like language arts courses this much, math courses this much, the agriculture course is this much, the nursing course, like they're all different. Like they have it broken down by every single course.
Which makes sense.
And then, but I don't know how they arrived at those prices is the thing. And then, Hendry is working with DeSoto just like I am in trying to figure theirs out. And then Okeechobee just came up with a flat, whatever it was, $1,000 course fee, and they're just saying that that includes textbooks, labs, and, certification testing for CTE courses.
Mrs. Bowles has a question or comment.
Yeah, I just had a quick question because we have a lot of ESC students too, and some of those students might need supports when they come in, and so that would be something else we'd have to consider in the fee schedule. But I will say that my experience has been, like, if they're coming in for a la carte, and they're picking a course, the way the scholarship works is that they have to have a bill or whatever to bill back to get the revenue. So for example, like if the kid needs sports equipment and they're on a scholarship, they turn in how much that sports equipment's gonna be, then they get that reimbursement or drawdown from that grant. So I don't know why it wouldn't be a problem to get past tuition, because it's not like the parent, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they just get the money and they just spend it, you know what I mean? They have to draw down from that scholarship.
They have to show expenses.
Yes.
And as far as paying for this too, what ends up happening is the funding is sitting in the step-up account, like they have an account that they use. And so we set it up so that whoever it is can just go to their step-up account and transfer the funds to our school district that's set up, so that there's no, they're coming here to write a check to us, or, you know, there's no exchange of funding, it goes, everything is through the
Step
step-up
up to us.
to us.
So it wouldn't be back pay, it would just be
Amen.
current bill.
Okay.
Right, any other discussion before we vote?
Well, my point was, I want her to look into it and see, can we charge more? My motion will include the current rate, but I would like you to investigate, and if we can charge more, I'd like you to bring that back to us. Because I wanna charge more, because FTE, I mean, people will always say this to me, oh, well, you get your numbers up, you're gonna get more money. Yeah, but you gotta have a desk and a teacher, and you're not, they've got that figured out, those statisticians in Tallahassee to the dollar, to the penny. They're not paying you any more money than it costs you to put that body in that chair, and it's the same. But it is a service that we're providing for our homeschool students and private school students. And I believe we should be compensated for that service. We're gonna be convenient for them, they're gonna save gas money from going to another district, it's gonna be people they know, it's gonna be teachers they know, it's, I'm not really worried about the competition thing like you mentioned, and that might be an issue, maybe I'm in the dark. But I'm thinking I think the driver's ed could be a moneymaker for us, that's what I think. And so, that's all the discussion I wanna have, I'm giving the ball back to her.
Any other
Make us more money.
questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Could we take a 5-minute break?
Yes, yes, I want to, I'll go to that after.
Do I have to do anything official for the break?
I have the gavel, but I don't have to.
5 minutes.
That's the longest I've ever gone.